order for the City of LaPorte Historic Preservation Commission for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 5:31 p.m. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Moving on to roll call, we have David Heinold, our noble city planner, Peter Steele, Fonda Owens, Bruce Johnson, vice chair, myself, Sally LaRocco, and of course, as always, the wonderful Deb Parcell from Indiana Landmarks. Next up is approval of the meeting minutes from August 20th, 2024.
Hey, I have a question.
Sure.
The hearing of visitors, does Bruce need, I'm sorry. Does Bruce need to be a visitor because, no. Shouldn't that move into the announcements?
Announcements or old business, David? Because he wasn't here at the beginning of the meeting, so it, I kind of briefly said coloring books are good to go, and then we moved on, and then when Bruce was here, he kind of filled us in.
It was during that section of the meeting.
Yeah, it was during that section of the meeting, but he wasn't there as a visitor. He was there with his, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think he came in after the project explanation.
So I guess it depends on if you want to think of Bruce,
Started
or that is actually when he shared that
Arrived,
information.
yeah.
during the meeting.
Yeah, I just thought it
that's-
was confusing that people would think he was a visitor when he's a member.
So can we edit the minutes to say something like Bruce Johnson arrived a little late and presented his committee
Or do you
at
want
this point in
to,
the meeting, or do we just need to
do you
move
want to
it?
slide it down to announcements?
I think that would be better.
Let's push it down. None.
Bruce, do you have any sort of input? No. All right, so let's move the Bruce's section in hearing of visitors down to announcements. Because that was all part of that same conversation.
Okay, motion to approve as amended.
Motion to
Approve
approve
the minutes as amended.
the minutes as amended. We have a first.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the minutes as amended is carries. Okay, correspondence reports. Do we have any this month? No.
We do have a COA that was approved by staff.
It was a door
which is
color
for
change,
Jeannie's
right?
door
Yeah.
color. She picked a color that was from the pre-approved palette, a red color, which looks really nice. So that was able to be approved by
Sweet.
staff.
As always, we love to say yes.
Yes.
All right, committee reports. Anyone? We know the coloring books are good to go. Thank you, Bruce.
Wanted to mention that when I took the coloring books around to all the schools, some of them needed more than expected because they had extra enrollment. So of the 50 extra ones, had to use 10 of those to go back to schools and bring some more. But I worked with David, and so I was able to get 10 more from the old ones that we had. So, and we bought those from the museum.
Okay, yeah, because we were talking about trying to make sure that, we were using up the old ones as we move forward into the new ones. That's awesome. The schools are growing. More coloring books are out there, more appreciation of the historic infrastructure of LaPorte. So I call that a win.
Yep.
Are we ready to move on from committee reports? Okay. Old business. So Sunflower Fair booth assignments. So I know that Bruce has responsibilities with, do you have responsibilities with the museum on Saturday? For Sunflower Fair?
Sunflower Fair is this Saturday.
Correct.
I am at the museum on Saturday, but do you need somebody to help at the Sunflower Fair?
So the Sunflower Fair, staffing the Sunflower Fair is part of our responsibilities from the mayor. So we have to have a presence there. And y'all are dropping like flies.
No, I can take off from the museum
The,
and come and help.
could you, so we have, I am out of town until noon on Saturday. So I'm gonna I'm gonna be here as soon as I'm back in town. So we have a setup where you're just setting up the table and the tent, and I think maybe David is gonna take that.
Table and,
The tent and
tablecloth
the,
and-
yeah.
yeah, tent.
And then we have a morning from 8 to noon.
I'm thinking, I know I have a tour to give. A tour group is coming in.
Do you know what time?
And I'm also signed up to go to the Michigan City tour. That's also on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, that doesn't start until 2, I don't think.
My tour at the museum is at 2, and I'm scheduled at 10 in Michigan City. Oh,
Could you just do in the morning, or at least last year, the morning, it was, there wasn't really anything, there wasn't a lot of like interactions happening. It wasn't until the afternoon that we got kind of more interested people. So it's really just the other volunteers walking around.
so who do you have scheduled throughout the day then?
So Peter has got the midday from 10 to 2, and I am in the afternoon from 1 to 4, and that includes tear down. But I'll probably be here closer to noon. I'm the one that's gonna lug the table away.
The Michigan City walking tour is at 1.
And Fonda, you have library stuff, right?
I do. And that goes from 7 to 1. Because it's we have our book sale. I mean, I could pop over if I have enough people, but I just can't say exactly when I would be here.
David, you can set up, correct? All right, so we're gonna put David down for setting up.
We have a table
Yeah,
where we use it. Oh,
yeah, it's my table and it's janky as heck, but once the tablecloth's on it, nobody will know.
okay.
So I will, I'll work on finding a volunteer for this slot in here, the morning shift, and we'll figure it out. And if we just have a table with brochures on it in that time, then that's the breaks, kids.
Who has the crafty stuff?
April is supposed to be putting the crafty things together, and I will,
Is she available for a shift?
she is not.
Okay.
Well, if she could get them to me, then I can get them to the booth, because I'll be there in the morning for the other organization.
Yeah. All right, so I will call, and I will find a minion of some kind to try to man that table in the morning, so that at least the craft is being attended. Okay?
Yeah.
When does it end? When does it end?
It ends at 4.
Okay.
If we are adjacent to each other, then I could practically go,
Do both.
yeah.
And I'll see how busy, I'll see how many volunteers we have. And so if I can come over like in the morning, 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
honestly, if we
so-
just have one person there,
Yeah.
like, as long as there's a person there, it'll be fine. There was never,
so.
it was
We-
never crazy.
We have our organizational planning meeting for our stuff we have set up tomorrow. So I'll try to keep in mind that we need somebody 8 to 10. And if we could just get the supplies dropped off. I mean, I know I can run over here and set up the stuff on the tables. So
Mhm.
that wouldn't take long. So I'd be happy to do that. You know, in the
Okay.
morning before Peter.
All right, so
takes a
I'll
dip. So
just put
I'll
Fonda,
do my
question
best.
mark?
I'll do my best to show up,
All right.
okay?
Okay, so I
And
will,
I'll email you or text or something.
okay. I will have all of the supplies and stuff over to David. The big poster still needs to be printed. But we'll communicate about that, and I'll have that all over to you tomorrow morning before I take off. And then we'll be good to go. Remember, the only point of Sunflower Fair is to make friends. That's it.
Well, I'll come over as soon as my tour is done.
Okay.
Can't tell you how long it's going to last. I don't know how many people are coming, so.
Well, I hope it's well-attended and insane, and you don't have the time to get to us.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we gonna have coloring books for sale or just a craft and info?
So we can have coloring books there. I don't, did we order extra for, because last year we maybe sold 10 of them, maybe. 2 of those were because I spilled coffee on them.
Oh,
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
Should be at least 15 left.
okay, so we're gonna sell last year's coloring
I
books.
think they did order
Okay.
okay, yeah,
All
we
right.
can do that.
the extras, but he said
Right.
they ended up using them for the school.
Be something to do.
All right.
Right, yeah, so I'll do my best to be here at 8 to 10.
I appreciate
Okay.
you. All right, the other event it's really new business, is the trick or treat event road closure, and we're gonna just nix that because I got turned down. So maybe next year we'll get to talk about that. We're just, I love this. We're gonna all go have an early supper after this. All right, moving forward, any visitors? No? Okay, thanks for coming.
I should talk about the plaque, just a little bit.
Okay, let's,
Okay.
so that is old business.
That is old business. So back in June, I had said that I was going to come up with some wording for a form, an order form for the plaques. And then we didn't meet in July, and I'll be honest, by August, that was not in my mind anymore. So I've done a little research since then on a number of communities that do plaques. South Bend provides plaques at a very reasonable cost to people, and they just show up at the office and say, I want it for my historic house. They confirm the address that it really is locally designated. They pay the fee, they get a plaque. But it's a very generic plaque, you know. So as I looked at other communities all over the country, and large and small, I found that lots of them actually give out plaques to any home that's considered historic, not necessarily locally designated, which I personally find a little confusing. But lots of them do it, even though they have locally designated districts. So that kind of got me to thinking, what direction do you want to go with this? Like, if they weren't locally designated, they have to provide, the person asking for the plaque has to provide all the background, like how old the house is, and they have some parameters, like it's got to be at least 75 years or 100 years or something old, and they have to provide the history in the legal description, pretty much everything we ask for a local designation to get a plaque. But then no restrictions go with that plaque, which personally I find that odd. I don't know. So I guess I wanted some clarity before I got too deeply involved with this, of whether we're thinking any home that potentially could have a plaque.
The wording that we have agreed upon for the plaques is for a locally designated
Okay.
home, for a home
So we
that,
wanna
that
stay
is
with that.
protected.
Okay.
If someone else that hasn't designated their home, I'm like, wants to put a plaque on their house, then they can go on Etsy and order their own
Buy their
plaque.
own.
I don't think that we need to try to, because we're our only like that, our umbrella of responsibility falls over the protected homes. I don't particularly feel the need to provide a service to a home that's not, under our
It
umbrella.
seemed really
I
strange.
think it would get confusing.
That's what I'm afraid of.
I
'Cause
mean,
I feel like
I
we
like
have
the-
people that have plaques that don't even know what it's about, and they are designated homes. So I feel like if you have some that do and some that don't, it's going to really muddy the waters.
I do like the perception that someone might see a plaque on their house and be like, and just assume that their house is protected. I like that.
That would be nice.
And maybe they're a little cautious. But I don't know.
Okay.
I do know that Lexi's house has a plaque, and I researched to try to figure out why it had a plaque. I still don't know why it has a plaque. It's not in a designated area or anything, but there are a couple of houses that do have plaques. And it maybe in the future, once we cover all of the houses in the designated areas, maybe there might be some special homes in the future that we might want to.
Well, it's important to
Recognize.
understand that there's, so Lexi's house is a single site designation. So her house is protected as an individual property under the local designation. There are, and then also that area has a lot of potential to be added to other, like Lexi's neighborhood, which is the letter streets, has an excellent stock of properties to be added to the National Register, which is kind of part of the big project. So, and her house is a really good example of why it's better to designate like a block, because then all of the block is playing by the same rules. And for some of those properties that are single site designated, no one else on their block is playing by the rules that Lexi has to play by. Does that make sense? So then, like Indiana and Michigan is a National Register neighborhood, but not all of those properties are also locally designated. So they have access to the tax grants, but they not all of them are single site designated in a way that means that they have to come ask us for input on improvements. Does that make sense?
Yeah, do we know, did anybody find out why her house was designated?
I mean, it would have been a previous owner that had
Okay.
done it. There was a whole, like in the 90s, there was a whole, like, I think we can see when it was added. I will get back to you on that.
That's
but
okay.
In the 90s, when they were doing a lot, like, if you look at the calendar of when houses were added, it's like they come in waves. So obviously, I feel like there was a group of invested homeowners and people that were working together to make this happen. And so we have a whole bunch of them, like all in 1995. And then it'll be nothing for a couple of years, and then we'll have a whole bunch more in 2001,
Okay, just wondered.
Is her plaque a local designation plaque, or does it just say something else?
Is it the TARDIS plaque?
I'm sorry?
The one that has the thing on it that looks like a TARDIS?
I don't think so. I don't remember now what it said.
Or normal plaque?
Normal plaque.
Okay, because there are several houses on Indiana that have plaques that don't
Like the
say anything
bicentennial.
about, yeah, so those go back that far, huh? To 76?
The Ingersoll mansion has a bicentennial plaque on it, and the house that the Cutlers used to own has a bicentennial plaque on it. I know those two for sure. I think there's several others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jeannie actually has an inventory of all of the plaques, or she's working on it, because she's an information hound, so. So Deb, getting back to the subject at hand, does that answer your question?
Yes, so
Okay.
we'll go that. I don't think it needs much information at all to apply for because we have all the
'Cause we have it
pertinent
all.
information. And so,
Well, and it's going in the designation packet, so they're being presented with it.
I just don't
Right away.
see much need for,
Yeah,
paperwork
I
to go
think
with that.
her desire was that they would get to customize it. And that's why you needed the forms, like, what do you want to put on it? Do you want it to say the Jones house or the Smith house?
and I think we need to be really intentional about what we allow for that.
I don't like that idea myself. I think they should all be the same.
The approved wording, I don't remember if it was the last meeting or the meeting before, the approved wording is, that the house has been added to the local register, the date that it was added, and then if we're calling it, the Ingersoll mansion, the Admiral Ingersoll mansion, then that's what's going on it. Whoever, the notable person or builder, original owner, because designation can be because a house has architectural significance, but can also be because a special person lived there, or it was designed by a specific architect. So whatever it is that makes that house significant, and it could just be that, so with my house or with Jeannie's house, they're both just a middle-class home, so the original owner of the home would go on the plaque.
Well, then we don't need a form, right?
I mean, I think we just need a simple form that's just like, what's your name, what's your address, so that there's,
Right. I mean, there's some of them that do put specific information onto that particular property, like the year it was built, the name of the original, the Ingersoll house or whatever, 1840. I would question putting the year very prominently that it was
I
locally
think-
designated, because that's
I know
kinda
that there was a year
confusing.
on there, but maybe it was the year the house was built.
So, and that, I
Makes more
think,
sense the
Yeah.
year that it's built, yeah.
there was one community in here that did that, but they also had the owner put on the year they thought it was built, and then you compare those two, because I know we've had that conversation with other designated properties. It's like, it shows up with 3 different years and 3 different sources. So before you get it on a plaque, it might be good if everyone was in agreement on that. Just a thought. But I don't think you need much beyond the name of the original name of the property, and they could provide all that, and then you guys could verify that that was actually so.
I think we
before
could,
go forward.
I think we could probably do that on maybe we could include that on a case-by-case basis. If with research, what you can prove is important. And I don't think it's a good look to put on the plaque well, this is what we can prove, but we also
Right.
maybe think.
No, I wouldn't do that, but I feel like they should, on the form, you'd have the name, the address, all that, the current owner, the address, the original name, perhaps why it was significant, if you want to know that, although you can find that if you look deeply, that kind of stuff. But the year that it was built, I think they can put that on the form just for, part of the history, as much as the original name of the house, the year it was built, and then we agree on that, because you might not agree on the name of the house either. Just that they fill that out and then we review it, just
Yeah,
to be
before
sure
it's
that was.
printed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
historically, the original owner and the year it was built, I think are the most important things.
We don't have any houses yet that are like a subsequent owner was the significant owner. They're all right now, all of our designated houses are more like architecturally significant. I mean, if we, you know,
People want to know why the plaque is on there, so. And just like Bruce's question, trying to figure out why a house is on there if it said single site, local designation, like, oh, that clears it up right there on the plaque. You know, so.
Yeah, that's why the neighbors all around don't have a
So-
plaque. This
Right,
is a
right.
single site.
I propose that there's something on there that's like, just maybe we can have an add line if something else about the house is significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
You
it
know,
was something-
I liked your list that you had. It's the architect, it's, you know,
Like, is it
You're-
architecturally significant?
right,
Was
you're
it a
listing-
resident of this house? Is it
Right.
just?
Yeah, so I like that.
Well, for example, tonight, I'm honoring George Wood Allen, who is the most famous architect in LaPorte, and his incredible. And so his grandson's going to be there tonight, and we're going to do a nice presentation on George Wood Allen's homes, like your house.
Didn't we find out that the county barn is also George Wood Allen?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The one that was restored? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think he also did the Bob's Barbecue building, Jenny Ray's, in
We'll take it.
1930. But anyway, that's what one of the things that we're doing tonight is we're honoring Larson and Danielson Construction Company, which was founded in 1908 and built many
Yeah, including the
historic
Civic.
buildings here, and then also focusing on George Wood Allen. So, and I have to go because I have to do that.
Go do good work, Bruce. Thank you so
I
much for being here.
Don't know if you needed to know that we spent $1,415 for the coloring books,
Okay, this,
and it was, that was for 512. So, okay,
thank you so
I
much.
have to go.
Have a great evening. Okay, is that sufficient? Awesome. Okay, any further announcements? So Jeannie and I are headed to, and Peter, no, you're not going. You're going to something else. Heading to Madison, Indiana, at the end of October. And, that's right, because you got a scholarship also. For the Historic Places Conference. Madison, of course, has a beautiful, cohesive, large, they are the benchmark in Indiana. So we're hoping to soak up tons of information and come back motivated. Any other announcements? Man, oh man.
Yes, the workshop,
Yeah, what, November?
November 9th, second Saturday in November.
At
and
the library.
Be on hazardous materials. So a real focus on lead paint, but then also touching on mold and asbestos. That'll be given by Paul Hayden, my colleague from Wabash. So he's really fun.
What time is it?
I think we said 10. Did we say that?
It's Saturday.
It's a Saturday. 10, we said 10 to noon. I'm not sure it's going to be a full 2 hours, but start at 10. There's only so much you can say about lead paint, so, but hopefully there's going to be a lot of questions. So I feel like that's something like everyone needs to know
Yeah,
about.
I would love to see some samples of different types of insulation.
Okay.
But that's purely because of what I do as a profession. Because I've been in some, especially some mid-century houses that I'm like, what is this? And had to do some research. But that, I mean, people ask all the time about lead paint and asbestos. So,
Right. And it's just amazing, the misinformation that's out there. I was just in a house a couple weeks ago where the mother of 2 small kids is just freaking out because underneath 3 layers of latex paint on the wall, there's likely lead paint. Well, how is your child going to get this in their mouth? Because it's already encapsulated. And they can't chew on the wall. It's not like, windowsill. There's not, the dust is where the lead usually is. There's no friction. So, it's just a lot of educating. So hopefully this can put some people's minds to rest a little bit, know how to deal with it. And I did see an amazing product for taking lead paint off that works beautifully, no VOCs. And it literally, I watched it fall off the wall, the paint. It was
Wow.
just amazing. So there's sure some good products, but we need to be able to educate.
Question about the reservation. Do you want us to make this public on the library's calendar?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yep. The more the merrier.
All right, I had that question.
Can you have it with
Good.
confetti when people scroll to it?
Well, maybe. So also, we were talking about this earlier, if you wanted to share that from the library's calendar, it has a share button on it now, if you click on that event, so that you could share it however you wanted to.
Did we have the Eventbrite set up for that?
We do not yet.
Not
no.
yet.
No, Todd and I need to get together.
Todd.
We have not been together for a while.
Yeah, if you could forward me some of the description,
Yeah,
I can get that put in on the reservation. That's why I didn't, it's not public right now,
Sweet.
because I
Okay.
wasn't sure what to put in
I
there.
mean, I'm expecting it to be gangbusters and people just be standing room only. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
People are gonna be like, what's going on in there? Yeah. Okay, any other announcements? Anyone?
Motion to adjourn?
We got a motion to adjourn the meeting from Peter,
Second,
second from Fonda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to adjourn the meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission on Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 6:03. Done and done.